welcome to Talk of the Neighborhoods. I'm Joe Heisler, your host, coming to you from the BNN Live studios, Eggleston Square, Jamaica Plain, where tonight on the Boston Neighborhood Network, well, we'll continue with all politics as is our usual want. Tonight, more of election 2013 coverage. First up tonight, a familiar face in a different race. Well, a different race than the one he's known best for. He's running at large for the Boston City Council, as he did 2 years ago, but most people are remembering him from the mayor's race in 2009. Former Boston City Council President Michael Flaherty joins us and talks about his attempt at a comeback to run for one of the 4 at-large seats. Then on the second half, we'll continue our profiles in the mayor's race. Joining us, the only candidate who's running simultaneously for mayor and a Boston City Council seat, Charles Yancey, the city councilor from District 4, joins us, and we'll find out what's behind his decision to jump into the mayor's race this year. All that and more tonight on Talk of the Neighborhoods. All right, we're back with Talk of the Neighborhoods. I'm Joe Heisler, your host. Tonight, a two-part show, but all politics, as is our usual want. Tonight, we flip them around, going first to the city council race, and specifically the at-large Boston City Council race, the only one with more candidates than those running for mayor. Over 20 qualified for the ballot, although they're not getting quite as much play this year with so much attention being paid to the mayor's race. Joining us tonight in the first half, a man who's gotten all of that attention and more, and attempting to make a political comeback of sorts. He's a former Boston City Council president and former mayoral finalist in 2009. Of course, you know him from South Boston. Michael Flaherty joins us. And Michael, nice to have you here. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming in and joining us. Help us out here, because you've been there, done that, and you know what's involved in this, and you know what's involved in the job. Maybe comeback isn't the right word, but what got you back? What made you you ran 2 years ago and weren't successful, but you're giving it another try, and
I think it was fighting on multiple fronts at that time. This is an exciting year for the city. When the mayor made his announcement, that's obviously that signals the first time in 20 years that the city will have an opportunity to elect a new CEO, and with that, it's also an exciting time for the city council and all the neighborhoods of Boston, because the council will hopefully be able to play an opportunity, if not a stronger role, but probably an equal partner role, given that the fact that the new administration coming in is going to need to broker a spirit of cooperation with the council. 5 members of the council are running for mayor, so that's opening several spots, and clearly 2 of them being at the at-large category. You know how much I care about the city. I think this is an extraordinary opportunity for the city council, and having the experience and the fact that there will be an experience void with 5 members running in the mayor's race. I think it provides an opportunity, hopefully, to get back in and to serve all of Boston's neighborhoods.
But don't take this wrong. I don't mean to sound cynical, but what's the point at this point? What do you have to prove? Because you've kind of been to the top of the mountain, so to speak, and what did you see there? What is it that makes you want to get back into it? Because it can be a real grind, too, as you know about.
No doubt about it. And clearly, the need to improve the quality of education, particularly in our Boston public schools. Education is the greatest equalizer, and to know that the inequities exist, and the fact that there are many neighborhoods that don't have good quality schools at a time when we boast of having the best colleges and universities. Crime and violence, particularly youth violent crime, the substance abuse epidemic, and the need to create year-round opportunity for young people. Those are issues that excite me and drive me. And furthermore, for the first time...
So you've not lost your passion, because I know you've always been very passionate.
I missed the action. And then you talk about, just came from a Ward 21 meeting, and their concern around, will the next administration, will the new council that gets elected, how will they treat development? And I've been a strong proponent of a standalone planning committee first, and then you hand the plan over to the Economic Development Agency, so that it's fair and that the rules of the game are fairly applied, that there's consistency, that there's transparency, that there's a level of predictability. All good things for community residents who take time out of their schedules to go to community meetings, thinking that their input is going to be reflected in the project, only to learn that it's sort of the cake was already baked, that deals were already cut, and it's more about sort of who was hired and who the proponents are as opposed to the merits of the proposal.
As you know from last time, the electorate can be fickle sometimes. And 2 years ago, you attempted to come back and you finished 5th. You did well, but you were finished out of the money. Can you make it this time? What's different this time?
Well,
help us out here.
It's what people talk. It's the power of incumbency, no doubt about it. There was no open seats the last time, and I think that there might have been an effort at the time for the current administration. Probably didn't want me back in the building asking the tough questions and holding people's feet to the fire. That said, it's a completely different dynamic, and I think that there is an opportunity for an experienced member, someone who knows the city, knows the neighborhoods, and has a proven record of accomplishment on real substance, to go back and play a very active role, an equal partner role, if you will, with a new administration that is going to need and rely on an experienced member of the council. So that's what's exciting me about the at-large race. And as you had mentioned, that there are many candidates running for mayor. There's many running at large. There are also several district races going on. So there are some people watching that are going to go into their local neighborhood poll, and they're going to be probably staring at anywhere from 35 to 40 names of people from mayor, at-large, in their district.
Well, and that brings up a good point. Normally, it would be a big story anyway, of someone of your caliber, your prestige, making a comeback or attempting to make a comeback. But is it getting kind of washed out? I mean, there's so much attention being paid to the mayor's race. Can you get your message across, or is it being kind of drowned out?
Well, at the end of the day, every campaign, it's voter contact, so it's getting your message out, and so that's either direct voter contact out in the community, or it's voter contact via the phone. So it'll be, and then your GOTV effort, which is you get the vote out. So those are all part and parcel of a campaign.
You still have your campaign
organization
organization in place?
Great organization. Great people across the city in Boston's neighborhoods, excited about the opportunity to get back in to serve the public and to play a role in city government, as well as I do. I love this city. I'm raising my family in the city. I'm born and raised, educated here in Boston, and I'm not one to take my ball and go home. Some would have thought that in the previous election, that after the election, I would have moved out to the suburbs, to greener pasture.
There were people that said that.
It is, and they need to know, they don't know me too, Boston is my greener pasture. It's a city that I love, and I know that I can make a commitment to the people of Boston. It's not ego-driven. This is something that I know that I could play an important role on the Boston City Council, particularly with the new administration being ushered in, and also maybe help new members of the council who will be elected from the different districts across the city, who will all be new faces and fresh faces for the city. So, so I think that's sort of it's an appropriate balance of having the opportunity to get an experienced member back onto the body. It also speaks, Joe, quite frankly, to the power of incumbency and the need for term limits in Boston. Not only term limits for the position of mayor.
So if you win this time, are you willing to commit to term limits?
Yes, and I've always talked about that. I talked about that in previous races, that's important. And so it's important to run for public office, and you can run for higher office and have success. Great. If you run for higher office and don't have success, then it doesn't necessarily need,
How many
need
terms?
to go home.
Will you limit yourself?
I think 5 terms is appropriate, yeah, and I'd be proof of it is that I've served 10 years on the council and then had run for mayor, and then so I've been out of city government now for 4 years, and it gives you a fresh perspective. You get to do some different things, clearly get to spend more time with the wife and children, but at the same time, you listen to people and you pay attention, I think, to issues that you might have taken for granted, or you might learn something by being out in the private sector.
And that raises, talk about interesting points, but as you look at all these mayoral candidates, several of whom you served with, how are you feeling? A little kind of wistful in the sense of, hey, there I was. I took my shot 4 years ago, not my shot. Maybe there's another shot in your future. Sure. You're a young man, but why not you, or why didn't you? Why didn't you jump into the mayor's race this time?
Yeah. Well, my grandmother had a saying that you win like a winner and you lose like a winner, and so there's no regrets here. Worked extremely hard, came closer than anybody else, and I always firmly believed, again, growing up and playing hockey and boxing, that. You want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ, and that's how I viewed it. And obviously, he's done a phenomenal job 20 years of service. Tip my cap to him, his work ethic. It's a difficult job, and for him to do it for as long as he did is truly amazing. So it wasn't personal. I just felt that at the time that there was, it was time. It was time for new leadership.
Any thought of running again this time? And that finally, there's an open seat.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where your first primary concern is your family and having that support, and obviously the age of the kids. My kids are a little, they're 4 years older, and so those are factors that were factored in. I looked at it and I said, geez, I can actually play a very active and equal partner role at that level. I know all of the candidates running for mayor, as you had mentioned. I've spoken with many of them.
Of course.
All good, decent, competent people who I know personally and professionally, and have no problem, helping, or at least some having that playing the role on the council to work. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about the people of Boston. We work for the people of Boston. So whether you're the mayor of Boston or you're a member of the Boston City Council.
And no thought of running yourself, though, this time again?
This time around, no. Yeah, no. I just that's not. I felt like I had my shot, and it's just
not in the cards this time.
It wasn't in the cards this time.
How do your former colleagues react when you told me you were thinking about running at large again? Of course, they're all just in the mindset of just getting out of the council. So
well, true, and also with with 2 openings at the at-large level, with two of the at-large members running for mayor of Boston, clearly that it gives you some room. So both at-large and district colleagues seem to be a little more receptive to everyone's candidacy. Quite frankly, it doesn't seem to be versus the last time it was I was running against the 4 incumbents. So completely different feel, and that allows you to really focus on the issues that are important. And as I'm out there, I'm talking to people. They're letting you know about what's going on with their children, and particularly around the schools. If it's a crime and violence issue, if it's a substance abuse issue, it could be a area development issue.
Any of them endorsing you? Of course, I'm sure they, some of them remember as you were council president, and you did a great job there. And
yeah, and they've all been kind and helpful with their their words of encouragement and things like that. So as we're starting to go down that road with respect to securing endorsements, and right now it's a lot of ward committees and labor unions are going through their vetting process, filling out lots of questionnaires. So that's the process now, and then you go from you go down to 8 in the preliminary, and I think that's when folks will start to zone in, and you'll see more endorsements.
Well, help our viewers out. How are you different now? What did that experience of having run for mayor and almost making it, but
knowing city government
and running for council again? How are you different now? What did you learn from these 4 years out that will make you different?
Well, knowing the mechanics of city government is a big part of that, and obviously having and missing sort of city hall and the budget process, and the mechanics of how that works in the delivery of basic city services. Clearly, those are the things that I've missed the most in terms of that personal interaction of being able to help a constituent navigate the bureaucracy. So having some time to step away from that and recognizing that there are a lot of inefficiencies within city government. Things we had talked about in the past with respect to sort of a city stat program, which is that performance-based management system. We'll be able to save tens of millions of dollars just by working smarter and taking advantage of technology that's out there. I like to revert back to my snow melting machine idea, a way to get rid of, to melt snow and ice quickly, environmentally sound, to be more efficient, to get the business districts up and running, as opposed to handling that snowflake 4 or 5 times by plow and by front end loader.
So technology's changed.
No doubt
a lot of
technology
other things
is a huge piece of it. So and then you also take an opportunity to do some travel and to see what's going on in other major cities and to see how they're doing things. I got in Denver, Colorado. The issue around homelessness and particularly panhandling, having designated meters in the downtown that are sponsored by local corporations, for example, maybe a local institution or a bank, whereby instead of stopping on the street corner and having someone coming up to your car, you have some extra spare change. You could put it in a meter in, say, the downtown area or in a local community, and that money will be used to support, homeless services and to create more affordable housing opportunities and job creation opportunities. Again, money better spent, so that you're compassionate, you feel that the person is in dire need of help. You want to make sure that the resources that you're donating is going to an appropriate cause. And so those are just like things like that that you start to see happening in other cities, and things that you say, well, we may want to have that in Boston.
Just a couple minutes left. What do you see will be the biggest obstacle that whoever the new mayor is will face coming in? What do you think is the number one issue that's?
I mean, being that education is our greatest equalizer, and making sure that the next generation has the benefit of a good quality education, so that they can go on to some of the finest institutions in the world that currently are in Boston, and also to compete, in the workforce. We have to improve the quality of schools in all of our neighborhoods.
So kind of making good on actually the promise that Mayor Menino held out when he first came into office. Have you patched it up with the mayor?
We were in good terms. I actually went over to the block party last Friday, so it was good to see him, and good opportunity for me to thank him for his service.
Has his withdrawal from, well, he's still in office, of course, but from the political world kind of changed his demeanor? He never seemed to take too kindly to challenges, and no matter who they came from.
Right, that's happened, and we've agreed to move forward on that. I think he'll always play a role, very much like Ray Flynn had played a role, and also before him, the late Mayor Kevin White. I mean, always available to lend assistance or to lend advice, not just for whoever wins the mayor's race, but even candidates, council candidates, at-large candidates, community folks. He's got so much vested, and he's made such a commitment to our city over the last 20 years. And even prior to 20 years mayor, served as city council. So I don't think that he's a guy that's going to go away.
Some people suggested that was part of the reason that you might have come up a little short the 2 years ago when you ran. Will he have an impact, since he's a lame duck? Will he have an impact, and is he likely to have a political effect in this year's council races?
I don't know. I mean, no one's sort of done it better than him, at least in modern times. So his opinion and viewpoint will always be respected and appreciated by political, elected officials, candidates, political pundits, media. So I think that's someone that will probably opine on various issues. But at the same time, it's probably a great opportunity for him to spend time with with his family and enjoy things out of the spotlight, which I've had the benefit of doing that. A total different scale, quite frankly, but to be able to take a step back and to be able to kind of commit to family things when oftentimes you had conflicts on your schedule, which is why a support system like my wife has been tremendous in having an understanding family.
What did she say when you said, "Honey,
don't even think about
thinking about running again"?
Don't even think about it.
She take you in immediately to have you tested? I'm just teasing.
But she knows how much I care about the city and my passion in terms of politics and issues, and so very supportive of my effort to try to get back into.
You're feeling good. You're feeling confident.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, and I think it's just a great opportunity again to kind of get back out there and to re-engage. And so we're looking forward to the preliminary on September 24th when they narrow the field down to 8, and then go from 8 to 4 in November. And hope that I'm able to get back in. And at the end of the day, this is about helping people. I enjoy helping people, and I miss sort of that part of the business. And that said, hoping for the best, and would love to have the support of.
We're happy to see you back in the race. Certainly adds a element of suspense and comfort, I'm sure, for a lot of people seeing your face again and seeing you back in the hunt, so to speak. I want to wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for coming back in and joining us. Again, Michael Flaherty, running at large for the Boston City Council. Of course, 4 seats up for election. In this year, 21 candidates vying for those 4 seats. The preliminary election, September 24th, will narrow that field to 8, and the voters will decide who those are. Again, thanks for coming in. When we return with more of Talk to the Neighborhoods, old friend Charles Yancey, District 4 City Councilor, is scheduled to join us. Charles Yancey, whom we were expecting tonight, has gotten delayed. We'll have him back on an upcoming show. That's it for tonight on Talk to the Neighborhoods. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week at the same time. Until then, have a good evening.